Hello everyone, my name's Steph, I'm Botanist Cool. If you're watching this, this is a pre-recording of probably the finale of the first game. My name's Steph, I'm Botanist Cool. We are playing the Apollo Justice Ace Attorney trilogy, which is well thought out, well planned, and well constructed in every way, shape, and form. And we're here with the Ace Attorney expert herself.
Katie.
Yeah, we're here with Katie. So, for everyone on YouTube, I'm on vacation now, which means I hope you enjoy this VOD. I will probably have some shorts of it up because I made a fuck ton of fucking little moments on the VOD that I will be taking out and making into shorts because there's a lot of moments in that I think are priceless, including me being extensively thirsty at a moment. It was something. I was entranced. Let's get on with it. Court will now reconvene. Defense attorney Christoph Gavin, will you please take the stand? Why are you the murderer, bud? No, and if you would, Mr. Payne.
Yes, Your Honor. Well, Mr. The witness state his name and occupation.
Is this false necessary, Your Honor? Leave me far stranger things of...
Once there was a parrot.
I was about to say.
Don't let me get into it.
I was about to say. Once upon a time, we had a parrot testify. I was about to say the same thing. Believe it or not, we're gonna have an orca testify in a couple of years.
I think in like one, they don't really time skip that much after this.
Fair enough. I got a little thirsty, but like, yeah, stranger things have happened in here. Like people, like fucking people being possessed, like Pearl being possessed by Mia. Like that's fucking wild when you see that. Like no, like holy shit. Fine, I'll play along. First, there's one thing we need to have made clear. How do you know about this secret beneath the victim's hat? By secret, I guess he means the fact that Mr. Smith was bald. Forgive my curiosity, but what is it about this fellow's head? Your Honor seems to have an inordinate interest in it. Damn. Whoa, he's back! Let's go! He's in the defense stand. How'd he get there?
Listen.
I'm listening.
It's Phoenix's objection theme, not Apollo's.
Yeah, I know, it's so good. I heard it, I'm like, and I'm like, where the fuck is he? And it's like, he's in the fucking defense stand, baby, let's go. He's now pulling the MIFA. Oh shit, he's gonna die. He is now MIFA, he's gonna fucking die. Frank saw it, is gonna kill him again. No, wait, it wasn't Frank, who was it? Mr. Red Blue. Mr. Red White at Blue Corp. Excuse me, thank you.
He just knocked him out. There's been many attempts on Phoenix's life. He survived them all.
He has survived them all. I wouldn't call it inordinate, Mr. Gavin. Mr. Wright! What do you think you're doing, right? Wow, things sure look different from the other side, don't you know what I mean, Apollo? Speaking of looking from the other side, let's consider something for a second. The victim wore that hat all night, never once taken it off except for that one time. That one time being the instant he was hit. That was a little too high. Oh! When Mr. Wright returned from reporting the crime, the hat was lying on the floor. Mr. Wright picked it up and placed it on the victim's head. In other words, in order to have seen Mr. Smith's bald head, you would have to have been there in the hideout at the time of the crime. In other words, I must be the real killer. Is that what you're trying to say as I look down upon you condescendingly with a slightly evil smirk? I mean, come on, is that not what he's doing? That's exactly, it's like Bad Guy 101, baby.
He does have the look, though.
He does. Like, at first he seemed like, you know, okay, he's a pretty cool character. I'm down with it. I thought he was going to be murdered, but nope. Not bad, Apollo. I just love that he's in the defense stand again. It's so funny.
Look at my evilly shaded glasses. Just like the way his body posture just
Dramatically
shifts.
changes.
Like we haven't seen this since Matt on guard, folks.
Mr. Gavin!
I'm afraid I haven't been entirely honest with the court.
What?
Oh, I assure you I had the noblest of intentions. I did it all to protect my client, Mr. Wright. Fucking... Okay. Yet I'm afraid in the current situation I see little reason to hide anything. Very well, allow me to tell you the truth of what happened that night.
Finally, may begin your testimony. Tell us, how were you involved in the events of the fateful night?
The rage I sensed at that man that night troubled me, so I returned to the club. I went down to the basement and peeked through the little window to the hideout. It must have been right after the murder took place. The victim was dead as he appears in the photo. A bald head, an unconscious girl, and Wright holding the bottle in his hand. I sensed that that was not the best place for me to be at the time, so I left. That's when the call came from Wright. That's a lot of testimony.
So you witnessed the murder?
For better or for worse, I missed the actual moment of the deed.
Mr. Gavin, may I remind you that you are on Mr. Wright's defense team. Your testimony is clearly disadvantageous to your client.
What else could I say? I'm standing on the witness stand after all.
So you are, Mr. Gavin.
And you had to testify as you did. You had to tell them you saw the scene of the crime through that little window. Mr. Wright, you had to say that. Because that was the only probable window of opportunity, right, Apollo?
I gotta look at the fucking window. Do we have a picture of it?
Oh!
Mr. Wright, the defense should do the cross-examination, not the defendant. Mr. Justice, are you prepared?
Yes, Your Honor. I can't believe I'm going up against Mr. Gavin. This trial's getting weirder and weirder.
It's so good.
This is a good trial. Yeah, I'm doing this trial. Hold on, let me see the fucking. Do we have a map of the place? We do not. Can we see the window here? I can't see the window. Can we? Can't see the window. We can't see the window there. What is it about this window? It's light? There's a cover on there? There's like a little cover on there. But it shows that it was open. So that doesn't help me. Unless there's a picture of it closed on this one. No. We'll deal with that later. That man, you mean Mr. Smith? He was different from the other customers, his aura, shall we say. I knew he was a serious poker player, but it was more than that.
So then you knew the true nature of your clients, yeah?
Of course. I also knew he wasn't engaged in gambling, which would be illegal. Well, it makes sense he'd know. They were friends after all. Worried for my friend, I returned to the club. You see, I feared this Mr. Smith might be someone coming to settle an old score.
I see what happened then.
The little window. You mean the one used to keep watch up the stairs? The contradiction is, how could Mr. Wright have called him and he'd still be there? I must have misread that, so that's not impossible to see him though. Yes, a relic of an ancient past. The Black Marketeers used it, I believe. Why did you go through the trouble of peeking in through the window? Wouldn't it have been easier to just open the door and go into the room? I didn't want to upset Wright, you see. Upset Wright? Yes, what if my fears had been unfounded? I'd be walking in on their match. Bad form, to say the least. So far, everything he's saying makes sense. How do you know it was right after the murder? Really, no need to shout, Justice. I was just getting to that part of my testimony. Ah, there he is. The coolest defense in the West we know and love. Even when you're standing up there in the witness stand, some things never change. I was afraid you'd change too, right? But you haven't. You and that overbearing personality of yours. With friends like these, who needs enemies? Yeah, right? By photo, do you mean the second photograph of the crime scene? Precisely, you see, he wasn't wearing his hat then. I saw his head when he was dead. And Mr. Wright came along and replaced his hat.
Can you describe the scene of the crime for us?
Those are the only three at the scene of the crime. Yes, as far as I saw at least.
Then we're back to where we started. The killer was the defendant, Phoenix Wright. Who else could have been? Well, why didn't you talk to the police?
2 reasons. First, I didn't actually witness the very moment of the crime. But second, my officer was asked to defend Wright. Even after seeing what I had seen, I couldn't abandon my friend. There must have been someone else there at the moment of the crime. Justice, I just said I saw no one, not a soul. But that goes against what Mr. Wright said. Ah, yes, this mysterious fourth person. Who would conveniently be the real killer, I suppose? Glad to see we agree, Mr. Gavin. Let me pose a question then. Tell me, what possible reason did the real killer have to swap the cards in the victim's hand? Perhaps you could show us a reason why such a thing would be necessary. How can I show something I can't find myself? Remember, Paul, the card that was swapped out was the 5th ace. The 5th ace, right. Well, Mr. Justice?
Well, Mr. Justice, the question of why the killers would swap out the card has been raised. Could you point to a reason?
A single drop of blood marks the front of the card. Okay, thanks. I don't think it's the right time to use this right now, is it? Not yet. No, not yet, Your Honor.
Not yet? Ha, pathetic. Not yet. Try not ever. Well, Mr. Gavin.
Oh, I'm willing to wait as long as it takes. Great, I don't even know what the heck I'm looking for. Apollo. Yes, sir. Don't forget, you already know the answer. Okay. Fair enough. I already know the answer. Take a moment to think over it again, okay? Alright, let's fucking...
I mean, we can just have fun with the testimony.
That's
true.
That's true.
You get these like little like back and forths between Kristoff and Phoenix, and they're so fun to me.
Would it have been better to wait for the police to arrive? Remember though, by that time I was already Wright's defense attorney. It wouldn't do for me to become part of the investigation. That makes sense, or does it? I'm confused.
Well, what happened next?
Where were you when the call came? I had already left the Borscht Bull Club by that time. On the phone, he asked me to defend him. Naturally, I was surprised. I accepted, however, I couldn't abandon him. So kind of you. So far, everything jives with Mr. Wright's testimony, I think. Is it going to be a problem for you to cross-examine your own boss? I'm fine. Who was it that taught me to never pull punches in cross-examination? It was you, Mr. Gavin. I learned it from watching you. Okay. So we gotta... Yes, the card makes sense, but... It's now or never. The defense would like to present evidence to the court. Evidence showing the reason why the card was swapped out.
And go ahead and point out your reason, Mr. Justice. Why did the killer take the fifth ace?
I do want to check just in case. It is red on the back. Okay. My reason is, this.
Is that a ace?
Why? Why, it's got blood on it.
Right next to the spade.
What?
This is insane. Why wasn't I told about this? Why?
Could this be the missing fifth ace? Inconceivable. How could you? What are you doing with that card? Well, that's the thing. Why is Mr. Gavin so upset? It's just a fishy card from some fishy girl. Oh, that card. It's mine. That is, I picked it up at the Borscht Bowl that night after the murder had occurred. I gave it to my daughter. Cards are her stock and trade after all. No, impossible, unacceptable! The court can't accept this evidence, it's a fraud. A fraud? How can you be so sure? What? I would think that the only person who could claim it was a fraud would be the one who took the real card from the crime scene, the real killer. Allow me to elaborate. What if this trace of blood was the reason?
The reason for
the killer to take the card from the scene of the crime. Where are you going with this? Take another look at this photo and the victim's head. Oh, yeah. That makes sense. I think it, yeah, okay. At the moment of the crime, his hat fell to the floor, and a trickle of blood ran from his forehead down the back of his head. Couldn't a drop of blood have fallen? But his head is up. It doesn't make sense. He's hit on the head. He goes up here. Why is the card hitting his head?
Well, if you look at it, it looks like blood is trickling down, right?
I guess it's on the floor, but it's on the floor. That doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
No.
How interesting. Wait, while I hear this one out.
Alright. Following the cards? I suppose. The killer then took the card to hide the blood. Regardless, that evidence is non-permissible. Oh? Right, regardless of how you wasted the last 7 years, you used to be a lawyer. You know what a serious crime it is to conceal evidence. Oh, we can discuss the finer points of our legal system later. What's important now is that I answered your question. What are you talking about? You want to know why the killer would have taken a card from the crime scene, and now I've told you. And one drop of blood would have been decisive evidence, you see. This is baseless conjecture, baseless! Oh, I assure you, it's quite
Screenshot.
What's the button to take a screenshot? Is it F12? Hold on. Huh, I'm taking this. Snipping tool, thank you. And I now have the snip. And I'm gonna save it as screenshot today. Screenshot ace. There we go. Boom, bam. Screenshot saved, baby. Let's go. What? It's amazing, really. How a single drop of blood on a card can lead us. It's quite. Oh, sorry, I missed that. To the truth, it's quite simple. Well, Apollo. Yes? Try picturing the scene of the crime. In your head. Oh, whoa, okay, we're getting...
It's those 3DS graphics, baby! Or wait, no, I think it was just Nintendo DS, but...
The murder took place in the hideout. The body of the luckless victim was found at the poker table. Luckless victim. And before the killer swapped the card out, there was a single card with a drop of blood on the victim's hand. Given this, there is one decisive problem with the scene.
Oh, what is it?
Let's keep it simple, shall we? Given that there was a drop of blood on the card, whose position in this diagram doesn't fit? The victims, the killers, the witnesses, or the second witnesses? Whose position doesn't fit with the bloody card? That's the victim. Well, isn't it the victim's position that's the problem?
I don't follow your logic, Mr. Justice.
Well, look, the victim was struck on the head, sending him back in his chair. You think that any blood would have fallen behind the body and onto the table in front of him?
Ah!
Take a look at the photograph again. If he bled in this position, the blood would flow on the floor, not the cards.
Well, that's right. So what does this mean?
Incidentally, we are sitting on swivel chairs. Swivel chairs? Oh, man. Apollo, try turning the chair around.
Whoa! The chair was facing the other way.
It would have to be. So we have to assume at the time of the murder, the victim's chair was facing away from the table. That doesn't make sense still. Hold on, that doesn't make sense. I'll tell you why. He went to attack the waitress first, right? Which means that he would probably be facing her. This doesn't make sense. This sounds like a load of bullshit. What? This doesn't make sense.
When Mr. Wright returned from informing the police, which was the chair facing.
When I came back to the room, the body was facing as it is seen in this photo. That would mean the killer turned the chair back around. Let's take the next step. Look at the diagram once more. We now know the victim was facing away from the table at the time of the... It doesn't make sense. But this creates another significant contradiction.
Again?
Let's test your reasoning skills again, shall we? Apollo, whose location on the diagram contradicts our new understanding of the crime? The victims, the killers, or the witnesses? The witnesses or the second witnesses? The witness. Contradiction pointing to the location is the witness.
Johnny, what does that witness location contradict?
That is unclear even to me. Chips like they might explain later. They better fucking explain. Something does not make sense.
Generally, one does not announce one's own ignorance of such a plum.
What is that word? A plum?
A plum.
I have to take pride in something.
Perhaps you'd be kind to try again.
It means enthusiasm.
Oh, gotcha.
I think.
Alright, Apollo, which location? Victims, the killers, or the witnesses? I mean, there's only two other options, so... This doesn't contradict much, because they can still look through here. So that would be the killer. Because the killer would have to reach over, I guess, but... The victim was struck from the front, correct? Indeed. Well, wouldn't it be hard for the killer to hit him from the front? Sitting where his indicator currently is? I would think it'd be quite hard, yes.
Yes, but what you're saying makes no sense.
Thank you, Payne. I can't believe I'm agreeing with Payne for once.
Why would the victim suddenly turn to face the wall in the middle of a game?
I believe a sufficient reason will soon come to light. You better fucking explain this shit. This doesn't make sense. There's something in this diagram that makes far less sense, actually. Look at it. Look at it. Fuck you! Apollo, if the victim was struck while he was sitting, as shown here, where would his assailant be standing? Try marking. Oh, is he like in a fucking cabinet? There's no room to put a mark where the killer should be. Don't worry, let's think it through and see what we find. We know the victim was facing towards the wall at the time of the crime. That's the only thing we know for sure. Try to forget about everything else. Where would the killer have to be standing in order to strike our victim from the front? The killer had to be standing, well, here.
You get points for flair, but that's about all you get.
I thought I was on something here, too.
I hardly need to point out that standing there would be impossible. The victim is facing a solid cupboard. Or are you claiming the killer climbed the cupboard and hit him from above, huh?
It's simple logic, really. If this was the only place the killer could have been standing, then that means that at the very moment of the crime... Wait, I know! The moment of the crime, the cupboard wasn't there. Was it? What?
You're just gonna have to let this one play out. You're not gonna figure it out.
No, I'm gonna figure it out.
They,
So there's the cupboard behind him here.
I'll say that this technically doesn't invalidate Knox's rules because of something that was said much earlier in the case. I'm pretty sure, but it's kind of a little bull.
It doesn't feel. It does not feel right.
You'd have to remember a line of dialogue Phoenix said in the first part of this case. If you were really gonna figure it out.
We're going to go all the way back here.
Can we go back to the beginning of the case?
Can.
Will it let us? There's no way it will let us go back that far.
No, it won't.
Thank goodness.
Hold on, I have to look this up. I'm sorry. Is there like a text?
No, it's just, what is the hideout?
The hideout is like an area that they used to hide, like to do gambling and shit, right?
Yeah, it used to be part of what?
A black market.
Right. And there's a line Phoenix said when explaining that's so minor, there's no way you're gonna remember it, because even I almost forgot. It's only because I've played through this case several times that, like, I was like, oh yeah, he did technically say that. You're not gonna figure it out. And that's not me saying you're not smart enough to figure it out. It's me saying, like, it's kind of bullshit.
Okay. Fair enough. Illegal trades? I mean, they mentioned something about, like, people getting killed there. They mentioned something about the black market.
Yeah. It's all kind of related to that. You'll see.
Okay, okay. What's this now? I mean, that's the only explanation, right, Mr. Gavin? Your Honor, I have a suggestion for the defense. We should arrange to examine the cupboard in the hideout immediately. Why? Bailiff, send a team to the crime scene immediately. Have them try to move the cupboard. Your Honor? What? There's one more thing your men should look for. Please give this to the bailiff. Yes. I see. You do belong in the courtroom after all, Mr. Wright. It was supposed to be the table and the chair, wasn't it? I know, right? I do my best. There's something wrong about it, Chip. I don't know what it is. I don't like it. But let's forge ahead here while we wait. Look at the diagram once again. You see, Phoenix is taking thorough charge of this right now.
Oh yeah.
And like he's in the zone.
He's been playing 5D chess.
He's been playing 5D chess, and something doesn't feel right. Like, this explanation, like, a lot of the other shit's outlandish. This feels a different kind of outlandish. I don't know how to describe it. Like, within the scope of realism, ironically speaking, the other outlandish stuff made sense. This just doesn't feel right. To change. The killer was standing here for the time of the crime. Then this cupboard wasn't here, which means... Oh, try moving the cupboard.
Thank you.
As you can see, the cupboard was the problem. Covers the window now. Time of the murder, it has to have been shown here. By the time the photo was taken. Everything, I mean, to be fair, possession of the crime. Oh my! What's this?
Ooh.
Ooh. What is it now? Look at the diagram of the crime scene once more. Here we found yet another contradiction. What I believe to be the final contradiction, in fact. Huh? Oh, dang! Notice something, Apollo. Our line of deduction is rapidly approaching its logical. But it doesn't make sense. He went to attack the waitress, who was the opposite way.
He already attacked the waitress because Phoenix wasn't in the room.
But why did he go back and sit down?
I mean, why'd he go at... He was in the room, might as well sit down.
It doesn't make sense. Not only that, he's got a smudge. Hold on, time out. Something that, like, look.
He's got his... The hat was put back on him. That would have probably smudged it.
I don't know, it feels like someone, like... That smudge has been robbing me the wrong way the entire time.
I don't know what to say, man.
This doesn't feel right, because, like, let me put it like this, right? He stands up, he attacks the waitress, then he sits back down and turns around, then Gavin walks in, stands on the far end of the room, and goes bonk, and then turns him around, moves the cupboard, and gets out before Phoenix gets back.
The bailiff just needs to get back post-haste.
Fucking, it makes sense that Gavin, like, I could, character-wise, Gavin being the killer makes sense. 100%. I am fully down with Gavin being the killer. I'm not down with this explanation, though. Now then, Mr. Justice, please point to the new contradicting indicator. Okay.
Who could it be?
Who could it be? About this cupboard, are we okay with assuming it was moved? Sure, why not?
I dominate this entire court case now. Payne, shut up.
This is my court.
Shut up. This is my court.
I'm the judge now.
I'm the judge now.
Well, if it was, something really doesn't fit. The cupboard would completely cover up the window onto the stairs. Aha! That's right, someone standing outside wouldn't be able to see in. Someone like Mr. Gavin! What did you say? Oh, is the coolest defense in the West losing his cool? Don't expect me to play along with your little game, right? It's only a game until someone gets killed, Mr. Gavin. And so that's someone. And someone was while the window to the room was blocked at the cupboard. So, Mr. Gavin, perhaps you'd like to explain to the courts. Exactly where did you witness the crime scene from? Excuse me, Your Honor! Order! This court of law and order, I have an order. We just received word from our investigators team in the Borscht Boat Club. They've examined the cupboard and the hideout, Your Honor. Oh, and what do they find?
Well, Your Honor, turns out there is a secret passage behind. What?
Yeah, it's a black market room. It's got a secret passage. Technically, Phoenix hinted as much, but it's such a small line.
That's such bullshit!
You see what I mean? Where it's like, you're not gonna get it, it's bullshit. Technically, there was a bit of foreshadowing for it, but it's kind of bullshit.
It's a technicality at best. Oh.
Yeah, I forget what the line was exactly, but he did imply that there are a few things to the room.
Mm-hmm. That is a secret passage behind it. Wow, okay. What? Oh yes, I believe I mentioned something of the sort before. This is one of the tricks to the room many of our regulars know about. Do you remember him saying something about that now?
Yeah, see, they're saying, don't worry, it doesn't invalidate Nox's rules, it's fine.
Is it?
Nox says you're allowed to have a secret passage if there's a hint that it's there.
Let me put it like this, right? The character, the fact that he stood up, hit her, and sat back down does not. Something doesn't feel right. I don't like it. The secret passage thing, okay? Maybe I don't.
I'm about to explain a few things that might, like, from this point, it starts to make more and more sense.
All right.
About what. Right. I'm not gonna say that there's not something fishy going on, but I am gonna say that the sequence of events lines up better than you think it does.
All right. Chip says I had to go to the video to find out what he said. What do you say, Chip? What was it they said? I'm still.
I think it just says like there's a couple of tricks to the room or something, like talking about the black market deals and stuff.
Fair enough. But Chip has the answer. Chip went through the VOD, as everyone should, by subscribing to the YouTube channel. So smooth, huh? It was about the tricks. Okay, so yeah, Chip was saying, yeah, it's about the tricks. Fair enough.
Yeah.
That is such bullshit. Are you kidding me? Oh my god, that's funny. That's such bullshit.
You're allowed to have one secret passage. Come on,
have one. I mean, fair enough. Never know when you might need to duck away from the eyes of the law. So the room has a secret passage. Where does it go? The other side connects to the restaurant above. The underworld bosses could get away from the cops and enjoy a cold bowl of borscht, no doubt. He only told us one, not any other trick. Also, he said there's one trick to the room. Okay. Just like our killer. You see where our line of simple deductive reasoning is that simple? I see it, but I don't believe it. That girl wasn't kidding when she said I needed this trump card for the last hand. At the time of the murder, the window was blocked and the victim's hat was the only off his head for a few minutes between Mr. Smith's murder and Mr. Wright's return from the call on the cops. In other words, the only place anyone could have seen the victim's bald head was from inside the hideout. Well, Mr. Gavin, come on, say something. Dare I ask what really happened that night? Actually, I think we can probably figure it out ourselves at this point. That night, for whatever reason, our killer had a date with Mr. Smith, a date with Destiny. There, he crouched, hidden in the secret passageway behind the cupboard, holding his breath, waiting for just the right moment. Then the chance came, and he took it. Ugh! Eee! As Olga O'Reilly was out cold, struck by Mr. Smith. But his time was soon to come. Mr. Wright went upstairs to call the cops, leaving Mr. Shady Smith alone in the hideout with an unconscious dealer. Then our killer stepped out from the secret passage into the hideout. The victim must have heard the cupboard sliding aside. That makes me feel like PS1 graphics right there. After the deed was done, the criminal must have seen the blood on the card. He would have, of course, then realized he needed to destroy the evidence. That single spot of blood told the whole story of the crime.
Yeah, so the reason he spun around is probably because he was probably taking a seat.
Yeah.
Just because, like, you know, standing or sitting, whatever. He's probably contemplating his life choices.
Yeah.
And it makes... If you just accept that he was, like, sitting, then it makes sense that he'd swivel around if he heard something. Is basically what they're going with.
Yeah, fair enough, I guess. Too bad for him he didn't linger any longer in the hideout that night. If he had, he might have had noticed the cards on the floor and the fact that they were all red. Well, it seems this trial has taken yet another turn. I'm truly sorry I had to see this day come, Mr. Gavin. No freak out? Mr. Gavin? Mr. Payne!
Yes, Your Honor.
The prosecution will continue its investigation. As for Mr. Phoenix Wright, the defendant, he is hereby cleared of all suspicion.
Work!
Believe me when I say that I don't believe this is happening, Mr. Gavin. But I'm afraid circumstances call for me to issue a warrant for your arrest immediately. Oh, no need to apologize. I rather enjoyed myself. It's not every day you get to witness a legendary attorney's dirty tactics firsthand. Your point, Mr. Gavin. Frankly, Your Honor, I'm shocked that a person of your caliber would have been taken in by such a low-grade parlor trick. Excuse me. The defendant is cleared of all suspicion. This is hardly the time for jokes, Your Honor. Mr. Wright hasn't proven anyone's guilt or innocence here. What he has done is use illegal evidence to put the blame on someone else. Not just anybody else, but to be his own defense attorney. Illegal evidence? Let me ask you, Mr. Gavin. Is there still any reason at present to suspect me of wrongdoing? Of course! This bottle, for instance. The bottle of grape juice Mr. Wright was drinking? How do you intend to explain away the fingerprints on the murder weapon? And not just any fingerprints, am I right, Mr. Payne?
Actually, yes. The fingerprints on the bottle were upside down.
That's a good point. I didn't recall this being an issue earlier. The court in this case demanded an explanation. I can think of only one reason why one would hold the bottle upside down. And that is to hit someone with the bottom of the bottle. Well, Your Honor. See how the caught fish squirms to the last well, Apollo? Yes? Your boss seems awfully concerned about this bottle still. But I'm sure you could come up with a suitable explanation. Just like that. Yeah, just like what? Why would anyone grab a bottle upside down other than to let him trick you into thinking his explanation is the only legitimate one? Is there really another? Take another look at the court record. I believe you'll find a simple answer there. It's in plain sight. Why don't you just say the answer in plain words? Thank you. It would be hasty to deliver on question ground. Well, Mr. Justice. So you haven't said that the court in this case demanded an explanation. Don't worry, Justice won't leave until justice is done. Perhaps the defense would care to enlighten the court. What evidence do you have to explain why the fingerprints on the bottle were upside down? Maybe he grabbed it from inside there, like you'd reach down, you might grab it upside down? It's on the other side of the table. If he reached over to get it, he'd grab it upside down, wouldn't he? I don't think that's it. Now's the perfect time for a penalty. What do they expect? I have no idea what to explain it. You're thinking too hard, Apollo. The answer is right in front of you. Just reach down and pick it up. Or try. I was right. My first guess was right.
Your first guess was right.
It's actually easier to show than explain, Your Honor. Place the bottle on the floor next to your chair. Excuse me, on the floor? Yeah. Now reach down and pick it up. Without getting out of your chair. Ah! See, you naturally go to pick the bottle up by its neck. With your fingers upside down! Look at this photograph taken the night of the murder. The defendant, Mr. Wright, sat here. Playing piano, bottles of grape juice on the floor next to the side of the piano of the bench. You would have naturally picked up the bottles upside down several times. Wow, I can't believe it was that simple. Recall our dinner that evening, Christoph. I was drinking my usual juice then too. Basically, you used the bottle on the table to do the deed. But then you must have remembered. So you went and picked up one of the bottles from under the piano. And you switched the bottles. You took one of Mr. Wright's bottles and made it look like the murder weapon. And that's where the hidden card is. Okay, fair enough.
Oh, what tangled web was we weave?
Order! What do you have to say to these charges, Mr. Gavin? I'm gonna take a quick slip of water. Fascinating. So this is the legendary attorney's famed tactic of misdirection. What? You claim I switched the bottle? Where is your proof? Proof? Well, that's... As I thought, more baseless conjecture. I'm afraid your bottle of proof is quite empty. I wouldn't be sure about that. Your Honor, when you initiated the investigation of the hideout earlier, do you recall I requested an additional investigation? Oh yes, I have your memo about that here. Retrieve the bottles from under the piano at the Borscht Bowl Club. And here's one of the bottles in question. What are you gonna dust? What, are you gonna dust that for fingerprints too? I'd be surprised if any were on that but his. Zavin probably wouldn't make such a novice mistake, true. The bottle won't bear any trace of anything. Say Apollo. Yeah? Why don't you go ahead and examine the bottle? But why? Just humor me. Mr. Wright.
Kid, I've been playing 5D chess all night. Let's just go.
That bottle will solve this case once and for all. What? That's some bottle. There's the card, I see it. There's something inside the bottle. What's this? That's caught, it can't be. Recall that unpleasant woman's, testimony for a moment. Miss Ogler, really? Yes, our little swindling Devochka. That, you don't need to read it.
At night I planted the card.
Listen, then Smith searched him, but the planted card was gone, yada yada yada. Wait, this isn't... You're telling me that this is the planted card you disposed of? The one you mentioned in this piece of testimony. I happened to put my hand in my pocket and found a card. Yes, I snuck a peek at it and I found it was the 5 of Hearts. I had a feeling something might happen, so I disposed of the card before the game. Oh, it was where? There was an empty bottle of grape juice I had been drinking right beside me. I threw the card inside the bottle. Which proves that it had been switched. 5 of Hearts is... This is the card. The bottles were swapped. And the only one who could have done that was the 4th person at the club that night. You, Mr. Christoph Gavin. Here's the explosion. Oh shit! The lobster's there. The flying lobster was great. That is all. Is this your idea of revenge, Phoenix Wright? Revenge? Revenge for the events that took away your attorney's badge 7 years ago. It passes like my logic, straight and true. Nothing's changed. All I did was point the finger of justice in the proper direction. Fine. I'm glad we could have this little... Tete-a-tete?
Tete-a-tete.
Tete-a-tete, right.
This isn't anyone about me. Don't I get to prosecute anyone?
No, shut up. You're irrelevant.
You're a pain in the ass. I believe this time we've finally come to the end of our trial. Mr. Payne, do you have any report for us? He didn't fucking flip.
He's admitted everything. We're processing his arrest now.
I see. Still one. I have to wonder what the fuck. He didn't even have a connection to the victim, did he?
None that we know of.
Mr. Wright, have you got anything to add? I'm afraid I can't shed any more light on the matter. About this victim, Mr. Shaddy Smith. His occupation was listed as traveler. Not a profession to be sure, and that's all we know about him.
I'll arrange for a follow-up investigation, Your Honor.
Good, Mr. Wright. Yeah? 7 years and you still haven't lost your touch. Christoph Gavin was a man with much significance for me. Both as a friend and as a lawyer. He was extremely talented to be sure. I needed two things before I could confront him. The first was a place where no injustice would be tolerated, this courtroom. The second was a man who would tolerate no injustice. In other words, a defense attorney. You, Apollo. Justice. Me? This is a dark time for... This is a grave dark time. It just... Sorry, I just feel so foreboding. A twisting of justice brought on by a very own initial trial system. We have to set it right. Mr. Wright. Work lies ahead of us, and I, for one, am looking forward to it. What? Well, it seems like a good time to announce a verdict. This court finds the defendant, Mr. Phoenix Wright. Not guilty. Why is Payne not cutting off his hair? Court is adjourned. Court is adjourned. I was taking a sip of water. Thanks, Apollo. You came through just like I thought you would. Wait, the locket still doesn't make sense, though.
There's certainly some fishy ends to this mysterious case. It's so good.
So, okay, listen, I mentioned the locket before. Why isn't he bald yet? I'm so frustrated because here's the thing, right? Something doesn't sit right with me with Phoenix's explanation still. It just doesn't sit right? There's also this locket. I know... I might be thinking a bit too far. I might be thinking a bit too much of this, or maybe I have talked to you about this by accident, but I don't want to say in case it is a spoiler. But I think I vaguely remember thinking about something or hearing about something.
Well, we can wrap up this case and then think your thoughts. I think I know what you're onto, but
yeah, like I have a vague memory of this. It was you who cornered Mr. the killer. Couldn't have done it by myself. You sensed it too today, didn't you? Your ability. Your Sharingan. Ability? Yes, a sensitivity I lack. You'll come to understand it soon enough. But you literally know it. Wait, I wonder if he means... Yeah. Yeah. Fuck it. What was that, Mr. Wright? You'll have to find the answer to that question yourself. The answer,
I'm
right.
mysterious.
Ooh. Today is full of questions without answers, most of them about Mr. Gavin. What possible reason could he have to commit murder? Perhaps you'll learn that in the days to come. Okay, I guess we're learning more about Gavin in the next few cases, huh? Huh? Wait, you don't know, do you? This locket is the key. Huh? Oh, that reminds me. I met a girl whose picture's in your locket. I think my thought is correct. Your daughter, right? That's right, she's my daughter. You know, you were right about the locket. Huh? I took this off the neck of the night he died. Okay, so yes. Why did he... No, okay. I'm right. My memory was right. But looks like our dear Russian scam artist saw me. So the truth is, this locket really did belong to him. Wait, but that's perjury. You testified. You said the locket was yours. I said no such thing, actually. Huh? Yeah, he always said that the locket had a picture of his daughter in it. I really said that it was a locket with my daughter's picture inside. A subtle distinction, but a distinction nonetheless. And it's the truth. Wait, but then why? Why was the victim wearing a locket with a picture of your daughter inside of it? Sometimes the straightest path to the truth isn't the best one. Give it time. You're still just getting started with your career. Speaking of which, I may be out of a job. I work for Gavin Law Offices after all. I still can't believe I just saw Mr. Gavin get led away in handcuffs. Apollo. Yes? How about coming to work for me? Huh? You mean at the Wright & Co. Law Offices? I don't think it's called that anymore. I mean, there's not a single attorney in my generation that doesn't know it. I can't imagine that to be true, but... Wait, but didn't you're not a... Oh, I turned in my badge, yes, I'm not an attorney anymore. That incident 7 years ago. That legendary trial. And at the middle of it all was one man, Phoenix Wright. The case reached its sad conclusion and he left law for good, until Game 5. You ever thought about coming back to the courts? I'm not qualified to stand in the court of law, I'm afraid. Didn't you notice in today's trial? There was a single piece of forged evidence. Forged evidence? What are you talking about? I'm talking about evidence that shouldn't have existed. A naughty magician's trick. One piece of evidence struck me as odd. It's true, yep. It seemed, well, too perfect. Yep. I'll bet it was the forged evidence. You mean this, don't you? I got this from your daughter, Mr. Wright. Yeah, that card couldn't have been found at the crime scene. Why? Because the killer took it with him when he left. Leaving the wrong card in its place, luckily for us. Fraud. A fraud? How can you be so sure? I would think that the only person who could claim it was a fraud would be the one who took the real card from the crime scene, the real killer. Huh. The verdict was already handed down 7 years ago. Then you really... Yeah, I forged this card. One look at the crime scene should have told you it wasn't real. But you can't do something like that and call yourself an attorney. Who's calling themselves an attorney, Apollo? It's true. The rumor is true. 7 years ago. None of that matters much now. Did he forge evidence 7 years ago, too? Ah! Did he just slap him? I punched him. Okay, it's close enough. It's your story from here on out, Apollo. Perhaps I can help you turn the next page. My office address. Drop by if you like. Mr. Wright. Oh, about your uppercut. Try yelling, "Take that!" next time. I find it packs a little more punch. And Apollo, thanks for today. I had a good time.
Yeah, so this is why people were like furious.
And that Mr. Wright walked out the door. And that's how my first trial ended. A lot of mysteries went unsolved, and at the time I had no idea what they were all related. Every mystery that day, connected by a single thread of logic, I'd find out soon enough. My name is Apollo Justice, attorney at law, and this is how my story begins. Hey, Uchu, how you doing, bud?
So yeah, that whole thing is like the big controversy of the game, basically, is that Phoenix Wright, who became a defense attorney because he heard his friend was forging evidence, forged evidence.
I had to do it for a reason, though. What happened 7 years ago?
Also, technically, he still didn't lie.
No, he didn't lie
because
at
when
all.
the card came up, he said it was his that he gave to his daughter.
He did. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
then he said, "What if it was the card? What would what would that imply?"
Yeah, that's true.
So he's sneaky, but it's still kind of forged evidence.
It is.
So like Apollo valid for smacking him, honestly, where it's like, dude, you led me around the nose. You made me present forged evidence. Kill you.
The problem is, I think we've talked about this case a little before, because I think.
I think you probably... I know what you're thinking. You probably are on the right track just because of spoilers, which is my bad. But
no, that's fine. I did not expect to play this game probably when we talked about it.
Maybe, or maybe I was just like too excited. Who knows?
No, the last time we talked about this game was like years ago, literally.
Probably.
In specifics, like it was years ago.
Yeah. But yeah, the actual reason you haven't heard anything about Gavin is spoiler.
The spoilers. He fucking got arrested and executed.
Because
that's right. He died. He fucking died.
It's not executed yet.
Give him a day or two.
Do you forget how long Maya's aunt was in death row?
At least a day or two.
Over a year. Well over a year.
That's still at least a day or two. I'm not wrong. I'm pulling a Phoenix Wright on your ass. Alright. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the VOD. Hopefully you all had a great time. You might not see Ace Attorney for another week or two, because I am on vacation. So hopefully y'all enjoyed this one. Y'all stay safe, stay Botanist Cool. We'll see you soon, YouTube.
Excuse me. See ya.